I need to take a scan. A second. Oh, I think there's a ghost there. These down. I don't know how to do this. Hey, toy fans! Yeah, we're not reviewing this again. So I'm coming to you with another No Ghostvember. I broke in at one point to get some of the Final Faction stuff in, but judging by my uniform, we're back in Ghostbusters season. Haven't got to go see Afterlife yet. Please don't tell me anything about it because I really am wanting to go see it. I'm waiting because my wife really wants to go and I'm not going to go without her. But I do have some really awesome Ghostbuster toys to share with you. These have been out for a while. You can find them on Amazon. And it's interesting because on Facebook, there's a group that was the loyal subject, like fan group. It closed down and now that's become another group that we're a part of. But Questionnaire was talking about different things that you have and even rare ones that you might have for the loyal subjects. Now, I've been collecting loyal subjects for a while. I mean, talking about back during early He-Man time before they started doing Articulation of the Knees. So I've been at it a while. I've got a few of those, but I came across these and I couldn't pass them up because the price is so good for them right now. So on Amazon, I got the true workhorse of the team. You weren't expecting that one. Janine Melnitz. And then, of course, the brain of the team, Egon Spengler. I got the heart of the team, Stantz. I got the everyman of the team, Winston Zeddemore. Which I'm hearing some news about him in the new movie, and I really don't want that spoiled. Because I'm also reading, I think, the second volume of the Ghostbuster comics, and there's a whole issue about him going to college and he's working on his doctorate, so I'm kind of excited to see how that plays out in the movie. And then last but not least, the mouth of the group, Dr. Peter Venkman. Now with Peter, there's going to be something new and different about him. I don't want to give too much away, but before we get into the review and we talk about these wonderful toys, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to click that subscribe below, like this video if you're liking what you're seeing, comment down below. I love coming back to you all, and be sure to hit that bell for notifications. Now, what do you say? Let's get into it! Alright, and this is the Loyal Subjects Ghostbusters. Now, these are the ones that I have. In our group, we've got a whole wave of these figures with a variance. Now, let's start with Janine. Now, Janine, every single Ghostbuster character is going to support themselves in a clear window box. There's a few that have a black window over the top, and it's kind of a guessing game on what you get. But the ones I ended up getting all had the clear view. And if you look, there's the inside. You've got, looks like a file card. You've got Janine there that's showing up. You got the No Ghost logo down here with Ghostbusters. We know that's Action Vinyl, and this is part of the Loyal Subjects Los Angeles. So, the ages 14 up, I can see why these as vinyl collectibles, they tend to have small parts that are easily breakable, so you're going to want hands that are used to dealing with stuff. Now, going along to the side, we see that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 gentlemen in khaki, I should say. I was going to say gray, but 4 gentlemen in khaki here. Egon, Peter, Ray, and Winston. And we see that the original ones, there's 2 out of 12 in the box. Each box will have 2 out of 12 figures in them for these. Going to the side, let's go to the side first. Over here, of course, we got Janine Melnitz, and we know that out of every box, we got 2 out of 12. Slimer, 2 out of 12. Sadly, I missed out on him, and I'm still trying to get him. Gozer Destroyer. Now, 1 out of every 24 for Gozer. And then Library Ghost, 1 out of every 48 for the Library Ghost, which is Library Ghost, also known as the Lady in Grey, also known from the game as Eleanor Twitty, that was played by Ruth Oliver. So, we only get 1 of these, 1 out of every 48, which is kind of a bummer, because that would be a cool one to have, these 2. And then, of course, going to the back, these are going to be our super rare ones here. We've got a gold edition Slimer, and it says gold edition 1. So my guess is that there's only one of these ever made. We get a Dana Barrett glow-in-the-dark version. 1 out of every 96 will have that Dana Barrett. And then you've got Peter Venkman with the Stay Puft Splatter and Ray Stantz Stay Puft Splatter. And it's called Club 28. Now, I had to look that up because I wasn't sure exactly what Club 28 is. Because if you happen to look over here, I've got a marshmallow splattered Venkman. And I was trying to figure out, I'm like, well, Club 28, is that something special that you got from, you know, like an online thing? And come to find out, Club 28 is meaning there's only 28 of those particular figures ever made. And just so happened to be the one time I ordered a Peter Venkman, he comes in as a Club 28. So I'm kind of excited about this one. Not really sure I want to take him out, but I also still want to review him and for us to get to look at him. So these are the boxes. Every single one sports the same thing. There's really nothing different about them. And the boxes are cool. I mean, we get to see our figures, which is what we really want to see in the long run. But the boxes aren't really going to tell us anything else about this. We need to get these out and bust some heads. Well, in a vinyl action sort of way. Alright, and these are the figures outside of the box. And I have to admit, I mean, so far you're noticing that each one has a ton of accessories. Well, let's rephrase that. Each one has at least an accessory. Some have more than others. Some have file cards. Some don't. And I don't know if this was something that, you know, just got overlooked in inspection, but like my Ray Stantz has no file card. He was delivered with no file card. My guess is that maybe he was opened up. I got him on discount, and when they brought him back, he had no file card. He also had a busted hip that I had to kind of glue together because originally he had been glued right back here behind the proton pack, and his hip ended up breaking. So I'm really glad that he was fixable, but yeah, looky there. You notice that he's got all this stuff and a radio. So let's start off. Let's look at Dr. Stantz here. So Dr. Stantz, it boasts that he comes with a proton pack with a neutrino wand, which he does. And that wand is removable from his hand, so you can actually get that out. Now, where you go from there, I don't know, because you can stretch it out across there, or stretch it out across here, but it's not going to really go back up on his proton pack. Now, he does come with this really cool trap, which I really dig. I think it looks nice, and this would be a good trap for other figurines down the road as well. And he also has a walkie-talkie, which is teeny tiny, but it fits in his hand nicely. Venkman! You know, so we've got that. And then he has his goggles. Now, his goggles can fit down over his eyes, sort of. But then you've got this big gap up here in the top, which is meant to go to his hair. And then the way his hair is sculpted, it actually holds the goggles into place. So they are more or less non-removable. On top of it, he's got, of course, his kind of open mouth Dan Aykroyd face, which always cracks me up. And then he's got a proton pack. Now, here's the thing with the proton pack. It looks beautiful. It's sculpted really well. This one actually has it where one of the pegs is loose, where it's two pegs that peg into their back, but these are actually glued in at least on one peg. So these proton packs are non-removable. Now, let's go down articulation and look at these, for those who are not familiar with the loyal subjects. So you've got the ball jointed head. They usually work really well. You've got a swivel waist, ball jointed hips. These days, you have the swivel knees, and of course, swivel ankles, the ball hinge shoulder, and then the swivel hands or wrist. Now, let's say his neutrino wand in his hand, and let's try to get this hand on there. It's a bit of a stretch getting him to point it the way you want, but it kind of works. These really weren't meant to play with per se. They're kind of more of a fun sort of collectible figurine that you can put on a shelf. Now, mine, of course, doesn't come with a card, and he's got that extra radio, so I'm just going to try to set up there on the top of his proton pack. Let's put him over there. Winston, again, has the same sort of articulation, but with him, he comes with his neutrino wand, proton pack, which of course is non-removable, and then he has his radio. Now I feel like his head's not overly grossly developed. Oh, mine feels like it's actually kind of glued in. Oh, there we go. We loosened it up a little bit. I would be really upset if my Ernie Hudson figure had broke the first time I got it out of the package. Be like, really? Okay, so his head does move. His wrists do move. He holds his radio in one hand. He's got his neutrino wand in the other. He fits the bill. And then, of course, he's got a card as well. Now, with Dr. Egon Spengler, he's got glasses, and they are removable. So if you want to see Harold Ramis without glasses, do it that way. But, even in his civilian life, most of the time he wore glasses. He's got his neutrino wand, proton pack, and then he's got his PKE meter. Now, it's a really detailed PKE meter, and it looks great. However, handle-wise, it tends to flop around in his hand. So most of the time when I set him up, it falls out. And then he also has the same burden as Dr. Stantz, where he has radio and nowhere really to put it. So that's kind of a big hit right there. That's one of those things where easily didn't have to have every member have a radio. Radio could have been, with, I don't know, Venkman and Zeddemore, and could have left it at that. Now with Miss Melnitz, we get the same thing. Now originally I thought that she was not going to have knee articulation, but she does. So she's got ball jointed head, and her glasses are removable as well, though in order to get her glasses off, you're going to have to remove her head to do it. Okay, you've got, of course, the swivel arms, or ball swivel shoulders, swivel wrists, swivel waist, and she does have some knee articulation. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is that the skirt does hinder the movement of her hips. That's one thing to remember. And the other thing to remember, it doesn't work that well. I mean, it looks cool and I like it, but this might have been one of those chances where a slit on the side might have kind of helped. Still a cool figure, and I like it. Now, the star of the show for me in this instance, even though he's not my favorite character, is this Club 28. Now, when you do get a Club 28 figure, this is what you're going to be expecting. You've got, of course, a figure that's got a pretty decent paint job. One thing to keep in mind with Dr. Venkman is that they did not tuck his boots, so that probably could have been an easy fix, but they decided not to do it. Okay, so you've got the Stay Puft splatter on him, so you know that this is a Club 28 based on what we have from the package. It's got some on the back, but the other telltale sign is on the foot. You'll actually have a 28, and that shows that, hey, this is Club 28, which apparently means, again, that only 28 of those were ever made. I think all in all, I really like the figures. I think that they're very cool. I think that they definitely feel Ghostbusters-ish. Some of the uniform seems just a little too much on the yellow side for me. Something as simple as having a peg to peg on, neutrino wands to the back, or maybe even make the loom a string instead of just vinyl, I think would have helped out quite a bit. All in all, I'm really happy with these. I think they look phenomenal, and I'm definitely out in the world looking for Slimer right now, because I think that would be a fun one to get. And I might even replace Peter down the road and have this one kind of off on its own, so that way I can keep the Club 28 separate and just have a regular Peter there. They are still available, and if you go out and find them in the world, you can find them at different places. Like Amazon, sometimes you can find them at Five Below, where I've found some of the Alien Run toys in the past. But either way, if you're going to go and look for them, good luck with the toy hunt. This episode of Eureka was sponsored by Marvin Dog Media. To learn more about Marvin Dog Media, visit www.marvindogmedia.com. If you liked the video, be sure to hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below to let YouTube know that you like what I'm making. And be sure to hit that bell notification so you get updates to future content.